And good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Harris.
And I'm Sadie Hughes. Thank you for joining us. The polls closed a few hours ago, and it appears Governor Snyder is pulling ahead in his race for a second term. Here's a look at the latest numbers into the NBC 25 newsroom. NBC News is projecting Governor Rick Snyder will win re-election over Democratic challenger Mark Schauer. Snyder will now head back to Lansing for a second term at the Capitol. Now here's a live look now at the Renaissance Center in Detroit, where Governor Snyder and the GOP camp is set up. People have been filing into the ballroom for the last hour and a half in the hopes of seeing Snyder and Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley speak after winning a second term.
Meantime, for the first time in 3 decades, Senator Carl Levin will not be returning to Capitol Hill. Levin announcing his retirement in March of 2013, leaving the U.S. Senate seat up for grabs between Representative Gary Peters and former Secretary of State Terry Lynn Land. The Associated Press projecting Peters as the winner. Just after 9 o'clock tonight, the now former Congressman Peters will join Debbie Stabenow in the Senate. Let's take a live look at the MGM Grand in Detroit, where the Michigan Democratic Party is celebrating tonight's win. Peters has served in the U.S. House since 2008.
Representative Dave Camp, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, announced earlier this year he was retiring after 23 years in Washington. With the 4th congressional district up for grabs, the Associated Press has projected that State Senator John Molinar will go on to win over Democrat Jeff Holmes. In the race for the 5th district, incumbent Democrat and Flint native Dan Kildee is looking for a trip back to the House floor. Kildee won in convincing fashion during the 2012 election, and tonight Kildee is leading challenger Alan Hardwick. And in the 10th congressional district, Republican Candace Miller is going for a 7th term in the House. Just before 10 this evening, the Associated Press projected Candace Miller the winner for the 10th district.
Now, representatives and residents in several communities here in mid-Michigan took to the polls today to decide whether or not to support raising taxes in order to fund police and fire departments. In Saginaw, voters were asked to renew a millage for 5 years, which would start in 2016. With 52% of the precincts now reporting with voters favoring that renewal. If it is not passed, the city could be forced to cut 1 or 2 fire stations and possibly a dozen police officers. You can also log on to mynbcnews.com for the most up-to-date returns. Thanks for joining us. We now send you back to NBC's special coverage of the election 2014 of the midterm elections.
Now we will see you back here for special edition NBC 25 News at 11 with your complete election results. Thanks for joining us.